Why is it? There we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday. What does that mean? It's time for Material Issues. Here we go with episode number 71. I'm from the East Coast, and as always, it's Mark Hershberger of Pop Detective Records. Joining me from the West Coast at home, California, my friend, Mr. David Bash of the International Pop Overthrow Festival. David, always good to see you. How you doing?
And you, Mark? Yeah, I'm doing well.
All day.
And yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. It's been a beautiful day here in New Jersey, and Ches is doing great. Everybody's doing great. Looking forward to hanging out for an hour with you and having a good time here. Material Issues, my friend.
And,
what's going on in your life?
Your proclamation of having a beautiful day in New Jersey reminds me to, while I'm sure they're not watching right now, I want to wish all of our friends in Central Florida to be safe. I don't know. At this point, I would assume the front end of the storm is really hitting, and hopefully everybody's okay.
Yeah, I talked to my daughters this morning in Orlando.
That's right.
Yeah, they closed Disney World through Friday, just because of the heavy winds and obviously and rain and whatnot. They're expected to see it turn into maybe Category 1 by the time because Orlando. That's why Disney built the theme area there in Orlando, because it doesn't usually get hit that hard. But they're all charged up with their little charge banks, and they've downloaded movies to the laptop, and they're ready for it. They've got food, and they're in a nice apartment complex.
Good. I'm glad that they're not in any danger.
But everybody else, we hope you stay safe. If you've got electricity and internet connection, we're glad you're joining us tonight on Material Issues, and stop by and say hi in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Tell people how they can how their comment bubble will have their name in it.
Well, what do
you have to do?
You have to go to Material Issues, the actual Facebook page, and join the Facebook page. And if you do that, then anytime you comment via the Facebook page link, then your name pops up.
But it doesn't pop up in the actual comment that we see on the screen here, unless they do something else, right? Don't they have to go to StreamYard?
Yeah. StreamYard. You register at StreamYard. Yeah, it doesn't cost anything. Gary said hi. Hey, Gary.
Gary has done it.
Yeah, Gary's done it. Yeah.
So if you're watching, you notice that Gary's comment bubble has his name in it.
You see, it says Gary Wilkinson. That's because you went to StreamYard and registered in StreamYard, just so StreamYard notices you, because that's the platform we're on.
Yeah. So, if you want to remain anonymous, by all means, go ahead. But
there's people that anonymous.
If you want people to know who you are, go to StreamYard and register. I'm sure the steps are very easy.
So there's a couple things. If you enjoy our show, StreamYard register lets you pop up. Join the group on Facebook or subscribe over on YouTube, materialissues.com. And there's a brand new way. I just started uploading things. It's materialissues.podbean.com. If you want to just listen to our podcast as you're walking around and not watch the video, or listen to it in the car, that's the way you can do it as well.
Oh, nice.
So I only have, here it is. Here's the link. materialissues.podbean.com. So that's a podcast hosting place. There are the first 11 episodes of Material Issues are up audio only, and you can download them. You can listen to it, streaming, whatever you want to do. But I'm working on it. It takes a little bit more effort to post everything on there. Yes.
Oh, you absolutely can.
If it's dinner time, I highly
recommend you do.
If it's dinner time and you want to have to be able to eat your dinner in peace and don't look at us, just listen on materialissues.podbean.com. So, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. So we'd love everybody to keep checking in, and we like to hear from you, which is very cool. But
Okay, it's time for my watch check today. And yes, I'm wearing a shirt with a lot of red in it. So I felt the need to wear my Fairer Crooms burgundy watch. Fairer is a UK company. Everything is Swiss designed, Swiss made. It doesn't do it justice here. It's a fairly simple looking watch. It just has two complications. It's got a date complication, which you can't even see because the hour hands over it is a very, very. Oh no, it's right. Actually, you can see it to the right of the hour hand. Very small date, which is not a problem for me. Also, it's a GMT, so you can set a second time zone, which I have to the UK.
Nice.
So that's how I know right now it's 11 o'clock or 23 o'clock in the UK. Anyway, the burgundy in this watch, this doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, if you turn it ever so slightly, that way we could get right there. We see some burgundy. That looks cool.
But out in the sun, it pops out so well. I was so impressed with the way this looked in some of the YouTube videos that I had to get it. So anyway, that's what I've got on today, and I've got my Diet Mountain Dew mystery flavor.
Oh, and the mystery flavor is, what is it? What does it taste like?
Well, it's called Voodoo, DEW. It actually tastes a bit like, or maybe a lot like, a flavor they had been marketing called Baja Blast.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's more or less the same flavor, maybe just slightly sweeter. What the ingredients are, I couldn't tell you, and I don't want to know. Everyone says that at least original Mountain Dew has flame retardant in it. So one thing I know is I'll never spontaneously combust.
Well, you could never be the drummer for Spinal Tap then.
That's right. So, there are a million possible ways I could die. Spontaneous combustion is not one of them.
Not one of them. So check that off your list.
Yeah.
Tonight is a new T-shirt I'm wearing here. It says Bedford Roll Arena, 1 mile north of Bedford, roller skating near the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And anybody who knows me knows that most of my relatives are from Bedford, Pennsylvania area. So there you go. The Bedford Roll Arena. It no longer exists, but this is a vintage style T-shirt.
Did they showcase mostly female roller derby or men?
I don't know.
That's an important distinction, of course.
Yeah, it is, but it's pretty cool. I just thought it was neat. Yeah.
Did Raquel Welch ever actually play there? Wasn't she in a roller derby movie?
She was in a roller. What movie was that? It was. Oh my gosh,
I don't remember. If any of you out there remember,
but
I know some of the pervs among you do. Please let us know what it was called.
There's probably certain people that still have the VHS of that.
Oh, no doubt.
It's interesting. I saw you earlier on Facebook talking about the Ed Sullivan Show and the Beatles appearance. That was a neat little thread and conversation going on. But it's very true. Our parents of that day and things like that weren't affected like many people of our age were. And I remember talking to my mom and dad when they were lucid enough to remember those days about 1964 and the Beatles appearance. And what were they? My dad would have been 36. And his they loved to watch Ed Sullivan Show. It didn't make an impact on them whatsoever.
Well, let's give people a little bit of background in case they haven't seen it. Yeah. There's been an old editorial from the time Ed Sullivan Show, Beatles appeared.
Right.
That's been making the rounds on Facebook, and the editorial was by an older gentleman named Paul Jones, who essentially disparaged the Beatles throughout the entire editorial, the Beatles and Ed Sullivan.
Yeah.
He felt like Ed Sullivan was betraying all his adult audience by having these long hairs on and having all the kids take up the seats. And he basically said the Beatles were talentless hacks, and like that. Well, it's outraged some people. It's also had some people kind of smugly laugh at it, like, what a clueless bastard this guy is. And the one thing I pointed out, well, among other things, I pointed out that it's easy to look back when you have perspective. When you have the perspective of history, knowing what the Beatles turned out to be.
Right.
But at that time, they could have easily been a flash in the pan. I mean, remember a couple of years ago, a gentleman named Chubby Checker?
Yeah.
For a while, he, figure that guy will just keep putting out dance records and he'll be around forever, right? Or maybe he'll just put out some cool rock and roll records. That guy was all the rage. Yeah. Then what happened?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Beatles obviously had more variety in their music, but so did a lot of other groups that were. Fabian, let's look at that guy. That guy was, the bee's knees to all the girls around, and what happened to him? So at the time, you could see how an older person might look at the Beatles as just a flash in the pan. Their music doesn't have staying power like Frankie's does, or Bing's does, or Duke Ellington's does, right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Look, some people certainly did. No doubt about it. I'm not saying that nobody of the older generation got them. This guy's a bit older than that, and he was a little bit older than. Probably loved the Ink Spots and Duke Ellington and Frank Sinatra and Woody Herman and people like that. The Beatles, some people responded saying, "Well, the melody was there, and that guy should have gotten it." They were probably way too. The Beatles were way too. You have to remember, a guy like that, he's hearing these electric guitars. It's going to sound like a freaking 10 lions roaring in his face.
Good point, Brian. Yeah.
It's we have to understand. The other perspective we have to keep in mind is the perspective of the people at the time.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what was going to happen with the Beatles. And you can understand why, older people might see this as just a passing fad. There were plenty that were all the rage for a moment and then gone.
And then look what happened as the 60s moved on, post Beatles. I mean, they showed up on the Ed Sullivan Show, as I said, with suits on. Their hair was a little bit long for the time.
Right.
But as you went on, you started getting these bands that were plastered all over the TV shows. Paul Revere and the Raiders dressed up as the revolutionary garb and shit like that. But then as the 60s went later, you had acts just showing up in whatever they happened to be wearing it wasn't even a suit related. It just was, some of it as grungy as you're going to get,
so even they were changing.
Yeah. Times were changing. So it's interesting how the Beatles showed up wearing suits and looking very respectable, as their dress was, and still having, people saying, "Oh my God, this is horrible to even imagine." Sound
well, the hair and the music were certainly superseded any possible sartorial. What's the word I'm looking? I'm looking for something synonym proper.
Yeah.
Any sort of proper sartorial choice that the Beatles might have made was superseded in the minds of older people by the long hair and the music, especially in the music.
I was fascinated in later years, right? I think not always, but for many years when I was younger, I assumed they lip synced on Ed Sullivan.
Oh, really?
I just assumed that. I don't know why I did. Maybe because you saw so many of those other acts through the 60s lip syncing very badly, or just goofing off. The drummer would just go like this in the air purposely.
You mean Steve and Edie were lip syncing?
I believe Edie was.
Edie was, not Steve. Okay.
But then a lot of these pictures started surfacing of the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, where you could see the amps were off to the side of the stage, mic'd. And when you go back then in retrospect and listen to it again, how good that was for being live.
Live with no monitors and
monitors, and
the same with at the stadiums, of course, at Shea Stadium. The prevailing story was, they said we couldn't hear anything over those girls.
Yeah.
breathing. They couldn't. They had to sing essentially in the opposite of a vacuum.
I mean, the Ruddles had the same problem at Che Guevara Stadium.
That's true. You would think that by the few months later, by the time the Ruddles did their show, that they would have taken care of that. But
they would have taken care of that.
But they, unfortunately, they just weren't savvy enough.
It was an interesting thread because it also makes you think about yourself and your age today and some of the things you see on TV, and you go, "What is this? What is this?"
Well, that's what I said. I mean, if I was assigned to write about some young band who was all the rage with the kids, but auto-tuned all their vocals, and the songs were just as pedestrian as you could possibly get, I would have all kinds of negative stuff to say about it. Yeah. And people would accuse me of not getting it. And it's true. I wouldn't get it.
It's true.
I would probably not make any predictions.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't say they were destined for the trash heap. But anyway, what I'm saying is, the guy was wrong for sure, as were a lot of people back then. Sure. But let's understand what position he was coming from in terms of what he knew, and the terms of and the position we're coming from. Yeah. Anytime you look at history, anytime you evaluate anything in history, you have to remember A, the times as they were, and B, what they didn't know that we now know. And you can't expect them to be on the same plane of awareness as we are. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, well, and we've seen so much from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and onwards.
Right.
Our perspective compared to what his perspective was at the time, it's completely different because he there was only so much that they were familiar with as far as just what they heard, and then television really just starting to come into play, through the 50s, and then all of a sudden, bam, this hits you in the face.
You don't know what to make of it. And the kids didn't. I mean, obviously, the kids didn't really know what to make of it either. They knew they loved it at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm sure they had no idea whether or not the Beatles would become the icons they did, nor did they care. How much 14, 15-year-old kids, how much do they care about the future? Zero.
That's right.
They're just worried about what's right in front of them. So the Beatles were hot at the moment. They loved them for various reasons, and that's all they cared about.
I miss those days, though. I miss being 15 and only caring about what was right in front of me at the moment.
I know, it's a lot. Kids had a lot less stress. People talk about how awful high school was. Believe me, kids had a lot less stress than we did.
Yeah.
Maybe for the dancing. Well, a good reason.
Yeah.
Got off the rock. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people did. That turned off a lot of people and turned on a whole bunch of new people for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what. One thing I wanted to get into. One thing I wanted to talk to you about, which I think you'll find really interesting, and I don't know whether you've seen it or not as we shift gears here a little bit. But last night I was surfing on Netflix and came upon a new documentary called Facing Nolan. Have you seen it?
I have seen ads for it. I've meant to.
Holy cow.
I haven't done it yet.
Holy cow. I mean, it's going to be right up your alley. I mean, it was so good. I mean, it was produced by Nolan Ryan and one of his sons, but really an outstanding documentary on this guy. And of course, you and I remember him being such a dominating pitcher, but realizing the teams that he played for and how bad they were and how good he did on just a very bad team, just amazing. I mean, he's the all-time strikeout leader, and they interviewed Randy Johnson in the thing, and Randy Johnson's like, I'm in second place and I'm 1,000 strikeouts behind him.
I haven't seen the doc, but let me play devil's advocate a bit here.
Yep.
Nolan Ryan is certainly one of the most spectacular pitchers of all time, and he always will be. He's also going to be one of the most famous pitchers of all time for many years, pitching 7 no-hitters, all the strikeouts. Nobody has done that. Having said that,
nobody will again. Yeah.
And probably not. Having said that, he, in my opinion, he's certainly not one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He walked way too many people.
Well, there you go. Yeah, he walked.
Also, you talk about the bad hitting teams he was on. One of the reasons for that was he pitched in some really, really great ballparks for a pitcher.
Right. Yeah.
He pitched in Shea Stadium, then he pitched in the Big A, then he pitched in Houston. Those, all three of those parks depressed batting numbers greatly.
Well, yeah.
So they hurt. So that gave the perception that he was on really bad hitting teams, and it also gave the perception that he was a better pitcher than he really was. Should he be a Hall of Famer? In my opinion, of course, absolutely. For all the records that he broke, for all the things that he did, was he up there in the upper echelon with Walter Johnson, Lefty Grove, Tom Seaver, Greg Maddux, any of those people? Absolutely not, in my opinion. Spectacular, yes. One of the all-time greats, no.
I think I felt the same way as you felt before seeing the documentary. I'm not saying that my opinion has completely changed that he's up there in the echelon, but when you start seeing that he still currently holds 51 major league pitching records, which is amazing. 7 no-hitters on teams that he played for that couldn't hit. Here's a little stat I wrote down. He had 198 career, what they call quality starts, non-win quality starts. And in those non-win quality starts, he was 0 wins and 107 losses with a 2.27 ERA and 9.77 strikeouts per game. And his teams couldn't score enough runs to win any of those games. And so,
part of that is testament to his skill as a pitcher. Part of that, as I mentioned, is also testament to him playing in ballparks that depressed his numbers quite a bit. Now, granted, only half his games, but that's a major amount of games.
And he did play 27 seasons too.
No, he did, and that's also really remarkable. So yeah, if you want to say that he was the most remarkable pitcher of all time, yeah, I would say that's probably true.
Well, what you're going to
like 3-finger Brown because he only had 3 fingers.
What you're going to like about the documentary is all the players that they talk to and the humor behind everything.
Oh yeah.
I forget who it was. Norm Cash came up in a game.
Oh yeah.
He brought a leg from a table in the locker room as his bat, and the umpire had to walk away. He was laughing so hard. And they said, why you have the table leg? He goes, it doesn't matter whether I've got a table leg or a bat. The result's still going to be the same.
Yeah, I mean, obviously when Ryan was on, those days where he had command, you couldn't hit him. That's absolutely true.
And to hear him talk about what Pete Rose called his purposeful wildness.
Yeah.
People thought he was wild, and he was wild, but he also used it to his great advantage and scared the crap out of batters by coming high and inside and they clocked him at 101 miles an hour, but with the technology of the day. And they say with today's technology, he was probably pushing 108 miles an hour, which is an unbelievable.
I tend to doubt that, but maybe.
But I mean, if you came in high and hard on a little chin music, and then the next one, as Pete Rose said, was a perfect outside and low, there's just no way you can hit that because you're scared to death.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. Look, he scared guys quite a bit. On the other hand, for whatever reason, Mark Belanger hit him very well. And I guess Belanger's idea was, I'm just going to swing at the same level, and if I hit it with my lack of strength, it'll just go right over the shortstop.
Somewhere.
Got lucky.
It's a fascinating documentary. I highly recommend anybody watching it.
I'm going to watch it for sure.
And his wife was such a big part of his life and career, and she's just a beautiful woman. And
yeah, she was a babe, no doubt about it.
Really neat, and he's a neat personality.
Did they interview Robin Ventura?
No, they didn't, and they saved.
He declined to be interviewed.
Probably they saved. They saved that whole drama for towards the end, and the way the whole documentary is put together, so much builds up towards the end, and it's really well done.
For those of you who don't know, and even if you're not a baseball fan, you'll appreciate this. Robin Ventura played on the Chicago White Sox. Ryan threw some pitches very close to him. He took umbrage and charged the mound. Ryan grabbed him, put him in a headlock, and proceeded to hit him in the forehead with noogie punches, just repeatedly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, what the documentary says is the Chicago White Sox coach at that time, knowing that Ryan would come in close or hit people on purpose, he told the team that if anybody gets hit by Ryan and doesn't charge the mound,
all right, yeah,
you're like off the team. You're done. And Ventura got hit, and he takes 2 steps towards first, and you can tell in his eyes he didn't want to charge the mound to Nolan Ryan, but he had to. And he kind of drops his hat daintily and kind of goes, "Somebody stop me."
Yeah, I'm sure. No, Ryan was a badass. There's no doubt about it.
And Ryan just wailed on him.
Yeah.
But Nolan Ryan said when both benches poured out and landed on top of him, he was on the bottom of the pile. He thought he was going to die. He couldn't breathe. And the person who pulled him out of the bottom of that pile was Bo Jackson.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Which is
Jackson, cool. I can imagine could have done that.
So
lifting guys off like they were rag dolls.
It's called Facing Nolan. It's a great documentary. It's a whole lot of fun. I highly recommend it. So
is it more than one? Is it how many episodes, or is it just
no? It's one like hour and a half, 45 minute long documentary.
Got it.
And
I'm sure I'll watch it.
And I think what amazed me is because we're all getting older. Inside, I still feel like I'm 28, but we're getting older.
No.
All the players from that era of the 70s into the 80s, they interview a lot of them, and you just you sit there and you go, "Holy cow, these people are getting old."
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, Nolan Ryan
Stengel would say, "Dead at the present time."
But Nolan Ryan's walking around his ranch in Texas, and he looks like my grandfather, and George Brett and all these guys that they just you forget that this was the 70s, and this was a long time ago.
50, 40 to 50 freaking years ago.
Unreal, unbelievable. Yeah. Time flies. But anyhow, if you haven't seen it, Netflix, Facing Nolan, I highly recommend it. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. That's pretty good.
One more baseball thing. And again, you don't have to. This is more of an ethical, moral dilemma story than it is a baseball story. But as any baseball fan knows, Aaron Judge of the Yankees is chasing the single-season American League home run record held by Roger Maris since 1961. Judge has hit 60, so he tied Babe Ruth, who had been second. About a week ago. It's been a while now since Judge has hit a home run. Clearly, he's under some pressure. The one thing I will say is that he seems to be staying within his game. He's taking the walks when they're given, and a lot of them have been given to him because no pitcher seems to want to be part of history. So they're not challenging him. One pitcher on the Red Sox, Pivetta, he challenged him, and Judge didn't hit him. Mm-hmm. But the other guys are throwing junk and a lot of pitches off the plate. Judge is not chasing them. He's taking the walks. So it's just a matter of time before he does it. I actually want him to win the Triple Crown as much as I want him to break the record.
How many regular season games are left?
They've got one today against Toronto. They've got 3 in New York against Baltimore, and then 4 in Texas next week.
So there's 8 games. So is that considered the regular season home run record, or if he hits one in the playoffs?
No, playoffs don't count for this record.
So he's got 8 games. Mm-hmm. That's not. I know you say it's just a matter of time, but when you're under that kind of pressure, and we know know what happened to Roger Maris. That pressure basically.
Well, Maris did it though. Even though it took a few more games.
But the pressure basically did him in. I mean, ulcers and terrible stress. You don't know 8 games. It's going to be.
No, at this point, you're right, because he has gone several games now without hitting one.
Right.
Maybe he won't. Well, I want him to win the Triple Crown just as much. So I'm glad
I don't think he's running in the Kentucky Derby though. He's staying out of that one.
He is a beast, but he's not a horse. But anyway, I'm digressing here. As many of you know, or could certainly figure out, any of those balls that have any relation to the home run record are going to be worth a lot of money to the person who catches them. They will be able to put them up on at auction, and number 61, which would tie the record, number 62, which will break it, and whatever number judge ends up, especially, are going to be worth in the seven figures. There's virtually no doubt about it. Now, the guy who caught number 60, 20-year-old kid, number 60 isn't going to be worth as much as the one succeeding it, but people had told him, you could get $200,000 for this. The guy instead opted to give the ball back to Aaron Judge in exchange for some signed memorabilia and a meeting with Judge. And that's what happened. Of course, a lot of people are saying, what kind of an idiot is this? Some people are, saying, well, maybe he's wealthy. He doesn't need the money, but the meeting with Judge meant a lot to him. Now, okay, number 61 and 62, to put this in perspective, when Mark McGwire hit his 70th home run, which became the record until a few years later when Bonds broke it, the guy who caught that ball, I don't know if you remember this, Mark, but the guy who caught the ball was willing to give it back to McGwire for a signed memorabilia and a meeting with him. McGwire would not meet with the guy for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody out there does. 3 weeks later, the guy sold the ball at auction for $3.05 million. Can you imagine that?
No. Yes, but no.
So more than likely, whatever number we think Judge's balls are going to, not his balls, are going to fetch, it'll probably end up being higher when they go to auction. The question I have, would you even, and anybody out here can answer this too, would you even consider giving the ball back to Judge? Or would you just say, screw it, this is like winning the lottery, and I'm going to put that ball up for auction and get all I can get?
I think the person with the big heart inside of me would want to automatically say, no, it's his moment, it's his ball, give it back to him. That's the proper thing to do. The little guy on my shoulder, however, would say, this is your retirement. This could mean everything. I think maybe I would ask if Aaron Judge would like to buy the ball from me, or the Yankees would like to buy it. I'll give you first shot at it.
Yeah, I like that idea.
And not put it up for auction, but say, they people tell me it would estimate $3 million at auction. So if you want to give me $1 million, and the Yankees.
Think about that though. You'd probably be giving away $2 million.
Yes, you would, but I think you'd half be doing the right thing and half be benefiting yourself because you bought the right ticket in the bleachers at the right moment, at the right time, and actually got the ball. That's not an easy feat. That's almost as difficult as winning the lottery. So
from a legal standpoint, the ball is yours. I don't know if it still says that on tickets, but it used to. It used to explicitly state that any ball that went out of the field of play, whoever received that ball had proper ownership of it. It did not belong to the player, and they were not entitled to have it. All right, that's all well and good. From an ethical standpoint, though, you certainly can argue that, as you said, it's his moment. Yeah, no doubt about it, Brian. Not just Kink's box sets, but I might want to buy a few more Uber boxes when they eventually come out. What you said about going to the Yankees, Judge will not buy the ball. I don't think any of the people who broke the records would have bought the ball. These guys are not used to paying for anything. Yeah. They just won't. It would be like asking them to kill their firstborn. They're just not going to pay.
Hope you're well.
Who do we have here from Hurricane Ian territory?
Well,
I'm glad you're safe.
yeah.
If you want to identify yourself, please do. If not, no worries. Anyway, I would do this. So I would go to the Yankees also, and I would do kind of what you did, maybe not with that extreme difference. I'd say, look, we all know.
Daughter.
Oh, hey,
My
Hannah.
daughter. Love you, sweetheart.
Yeah, I'm glad you're safe, Hannah.
Yes, indeed.
Anyway, yeah, I would. I'd go to the Yankees and say, look, we all know this ball's getting $3 million at auction. I'm willing to sell it to you first. You can do whatever you want with it. You want to give it to Judge? Go ahead. I hope you do. It'd be great if he had it. I don't need to meet with anybody. I mean, if Aaron wants to meet me, so be it. If not, no worries. I will sell you the ball for maybe $1.5 million or $2 million. I don't know. I'd come up with some number, not quite as extreme as yours, but I would be willing. I think when you're talking about that large a number, whether I get $2 million or $3 million, I think I wouldn't have to worry too much about life after about bills or anything like that. So I think, yeah, I'd say sure, $2 million. Yankees, here's the ball. You want to pay me? They probably won't.
But okay,
let's get you in the paper though as being a good guy.
Right, but let's
the
say
Yankees
they
look like villains. Yeah.
What if you made a deal with the Baseball Hall of Fame that says you could have the ball for nothing as long as you on the plaque in the moment it says caught by David Bash, and your name would put
not for $3 million. No. No, yeah. I mean we are. Look, especially at my age, I have medical issues. I don't have a whole lot of money. It's all going to Kink's box sets. I haven't bought a car for 18 years. I mean, look, I'm not lamenting any of it. It is what it is, and I'm happy. But yeah, I don't think it's okay. They don't need to have my name in the Hall of Fame as catching the ball. It's not what you would. Maybe if I made a really good circus catch. And that's the one thing too. If you catch that ball, you better stick it down your pants.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All the homophobic guys in the stands, even for a few million, they're not going down there to get the ball.
I'll tell you what, if that
you
ball
hold it to your chest, you've had it.
If that ball rattles around the stands at all, there's going to be such a melee of people jumping on top of each other.
God.
I mean, people might die.
No, it's no joke. If that does happen, somebody might die. Yeah.
Somebody will whip out an AK-47 and start mowing down everybody just to get to this ball.
They better have a lot of not just security, but I guess security can double as a rescue team. Because the pile would probably have about 15 to 20 people on it, and nobody's getting up.
Yeah,
they're all going to keep going for the ball. Meanwhile, the people underneath on the bottom of that pile are freaking suffocating.
Oh my Lord!
There better be some people there who are going to just grab everybody off and save the life of whoever got the ball or whoever didn't get the ball.
Would it be a cool move if whoever caught the ball immediately threw it back on the field and went like this?
I'm sure all the people at Bellevue would find that very entertaining. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be
that guy deserves to go.
It'll be really interesting. Like you said, there's 8 games left. If it gets tight, if he gets down to 3 games left and he hasn't been able to do it, it'll be interesting to see if the pitchers will challenge him, or if they'll continue to work around him, or if somebody will give him a chance.
Well, I think a lot of what's happening will continue to happen. Some will challenge him. Some will just decide to be very, very careful with him. They don't want to go down in the record books as that guy.
Yeah.
The teams that they're playing. I mean, Toronto needs the wins, even though they're out of the division. They need the wins to make the wild card. Yeah. To get one of the wild cards. The Orioles are still in it, but possibly by the time the Yankees play them, they won't be. Texas is out of it completely, so they have no stake in anything. So who knows what they might do? And I actually was. Oh,
somebody's saying hi to my daughter. Cool.
Maybe it's Leah.
Might be Leah. However, they live together, so they could just turn and go, hi.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Unless they're trying to fool us.
That darn Borak again.
Yeah, maybe it is Borak. I don't know. Speaking of fooling us, maybe it's time for Stump the Bash, unless you've got something more you need to talk about.
I don't think I know. I wanted to mention I did get David Leaf's updated book, Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys, and the California Myth, and started the updated version. Really loving it so far. So that's out there to be bought. I highly recommend it for the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson fans. Love it.
Yeah, it's really well written, well researched, great perspective.
Really is.
So glad we got David Leaf on.
It is time to
Stump the Bash, Stump the Bash. Stump the Bash, Stump the Bash.
It is time to Stump the Bash. David, you're not going to believe this, but I have 4 different chart positions for you to choose from.
Oh my God.
Tonight. And if for those who have not seen Stump the Bash before, I've got questions based on the Billboard Hot 100 year-end Hot 100 from 1965 to 1975. That's an 11-year period. That is David's wheelhouse as he was growing up. And in order to stump David, he picks A through D tonight, and we have 1 chart position. I ask him questions. We try to keep it as difficult as possible. He needs to average getting it within 3 questions over 5 years that he selects to get 15 points, or we have stumped the bash. What fun is this? It's a lot of fun because we learn a lot about these songs from this era, and we see just how good or how bad David is working tonight. Last time we did it, wow, he killed it.
So right now, it killed me. So
it killed you.
It can go either way.
I need you to pick letter A, B, C, or D. And that'll give us the chart position we're working with.
I'm not sure why you increased the letters by 2, but I guess it does open up more possibilities.
Only because I had extra time and made some more lists.
All right. Let's go with, since I've already done A and B a few times, let's go with C this time, Gene Rayburn.
Oh, C it shall be. And C, well, all right. This was picked completely at random.
Oh, no. It's like number 1, isn't it?
No, it's chart position number 4.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Number 4.
Number 4.
So we're going to go with 1965 through 1975. So chart position number 4. What year would you like to start with, my friend? On Stump
to remember what
Bash.
I'm trying to remember what years I used last week. Do you happen to have that?
Yeah, last week you used, or last time we did it.
Or last time we did it, pardon me.
Yeah, we gotta go back to, let's see here. The 14th was the Cal Sills. Okay, you did 1967, 65, 69. So 5, 7, 9, 1, and 3, all the odd numbers. 71 and 73.
All right, well, there's 11, so I can pick 5 even numbers. So why don't we? I was actually thinking of before Material Issues started, I was thinking of beginning with 1974. So let's do that.
All right, 1974, chart position number 4. This is question number 1. This will be a 5-pointer if David can get it. Some of these are tough, some of these not so tough. The song was originally released.
I know it. No.
Oh!
Sorry.
Originally released as a promo track under the name Hail, and was later featured on the album Wavoka under its current name.
Oh, I think that might have to be Come and Get Your Love by Redbone.
5 points. Come and Get Your Love by Redbone. Fantastic.
That seriously did number 4 for the year. Wow.
Number 4.
Not on WABC, the station that I listen to. That's for sure. Wow.
Made them the first Native American band to reach the top 5 on Billboard's Hot 100, reaching number 5 overall, but stayed on the charts. And David is off to a quick start. 5 points.
So hold on. You're telling me that the highest chart position it got during the year was 5, yet it finished number 4 for the entire year?
Because it stayed on.
Because of all the weeks it was on, right?
All the weeks it was on. Yep.
How many weeks was it on? Did you
I don't know. I don't have it here.
Got to be well over 20, I would imagine.
Probably a lot, but what a great song. Come and get
it is a great song. What's his name from Chicago? Oh, I'm drawing a blank now. One of the guys with his band did a version of "Come and Get Your Love" at IPO Chicago.
Nice.
Oh, Keith Betty, his name is.
Oh, okay.
He pulled that one right out. I was shocked, but he did a great white boy job of that one.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got it. I don't know where did Wovoka get it for you? Was that what it was? I was considering.
But the hail makes sense. Hail makes sense now that I think about it.
Yeah, excellent. Well, 5 points. You're way ahead of the curve already. So sit back, relax, pick your second year, my friend.
All right, we're going even. Let's try 1966. This will be harder for me probably because I wasn't listening to the radio then.
1966. All right. Well, this one was fairly simple, so I had to keep the clues fairly difficult. Okay. Here we go. 1966 chart position number 4. This song was this band's debut single in August of 1966.
Yeah, that is a very difficult one, although I know some people who probably that's all they would need. So it's a band, you're saying?
It said this song was this band's debut single in August of 1966.
Well, they ain't the Beatles. Let's see. So huge in 1965, obviously.
1966.
Oh, thank you. 66. Why am I just pick something from 66?
August of 66.
Like only solo artists are coming into my head right now. Yeah, that's wait a minute. Would that have come out that early? No, I don't think so. This is probably too early. August is probably too early, but Last Train to Clarksville? No.
5-pointer.
Oh my God, I got that?
I don't know how you got that, but David, you're right out of the gates, 2 for 2.
I really thought that was more like October, but okay.
Last Train to Clarksville, 1966. The Monkees did
the band.
Yeah.
You did that song?
The Candy Store Prophets performed as the instrumental session work on the recording.
I couldn't have told you that. Sorry, Andrew Sandoval. I didn't know that.
It was clue number 2 was the fact that it was recorded, and I was going to say this slowly, at RCA Victor Studio B in Hollywood, and was already on Boss Radio charts by August 17th, 1966. Wow,
I really didn't know it was that early.
Yeah, there you go.
Figured I'd give it a shot.
And somebody's already chiming in with OMG.
Well, hopefully it's a woman because, I always want to hear, oh, my God, out of a woman.
David, I
rarely do,
You've already got 10 points. So this chart position number 4 is a no-brainer for you so far.
Well, I have no brains, so it's
perfect. It's a perfect match.
Nicely with my disposition. All right, go ahead.
All right, what year are we going to next? You staying with evens?
Yep. All right, I'm going to go with a year that, again, I've always said is my favorite year for Top 40 radio. But the last 2 times I used that year, I did not do well with them. I think I only have a total of those 2 times 3 points. We had. Oh, hey, Mike. We had. I remember we had Cracklin' Rosie and and what was the other one? Looking Out My Back Door.
Yeah.
I only managed to get 1 and 2 on those. So we're going to go with 1970 and hope this works out better.
1970. Here we go. Let me get over here to 1970. My papers are throwing me around here. All right, here we go. 1970 chart position number 4. If David can go 3 for 3, I'm going to be impressed tonight. This was a song written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David, for the 1969 film Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
Well, believe it or not, I've never seen that film. I've seen.
Oh, I thought that would give it to you right away.
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but well, I have an idea, but did they write this? I think they did. I'm going to say Close to You by the Carpenters.
No.
Ah! Okay.
I thought you were coming out with it. Well, clue number 2 is not going to give you much more help if that's any consolation. It won an Oscar for Best Original Song, and Bacharach also won Best Original Score.
Well, is it Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head?
There you go. 4 points. 4 points.
The Oscar one was actually a help.
Oh, was it? Okay, there you go.
Every now and then you get some arcane knowledge.
Wait a second. Who's the artist that did it? Maybe I can't give you 4 points.
No, that's true, because I didn't even know he did a version of I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. So I probably don't know that B.J. Thomas did this either.
You probably didn't know that. So
no. That song finished number 1 on WABC's Heavy 100 of 1970, by the way.
There you go. Raindrop, You Fall on My Head, B.J. Thomas from Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
I probably should have known it right off the. Did Bacharach and David write Close to You, or was that somebody else?
I don't think it was.
Somebody tell me who wrote that.
Yeah, somebody
then,
please.
If it wasn't them. I'm gonna
Google who wrote Close to You. I'm not sure, but I was thinking tonight might be the night where you go 5 for 5 with perfect 5s, but not quite.
Didn't quite. Well, maybe if it was the number 5 position, I would have.
Maybe.
This is number 4, so I had to get 4 points somewhere.
All right, my friend, we did 66, 70, and 74. Where are we going next?
All right. Well, there's 2 more even number years, so we will go 1968. Another year that kicked my ass a few weeks ago when I did it with a Dusty Springfield track.
Dusty Springfield track, that's right. All right, chart position number 4 in 1968. This is a song co-written by guitarist Steve Cropper.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm trying to remember. Well, I have a few choices in my head.
Yeah.
There's obvious choices based upon who it is. Let me think. That was the other one. I'm forgetting one of them, which is probably what it is. But
chart position. Oh, Bert and Hal did write Close to You. Gary chimed in.
Okay.
There we go.
I thought they did, but I just picked the wrong one. But thankfully, you came up with the Oscar clue, and I knew it.
Yeah.
All right. I'll just go with Time is Tight by Booker T and the MGs.
Nope.
Okay. All right. I have a few other guesses.
I know that this one's right in your wheelhouse, but the song was released on Stax Records, Volt label, with the B-side Sweet Lorene.
Yeah, I don't have the single.
I had to make that question tough because the next couple of clues are pretty much giveaways.
Well, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
Oh, you got it. 4 points. That puts you well over the 15. We have not stumped the bash tonight. It is not
number 4 is going to be a little easier.
Easier. It could have been anywhere. The other choices were high 60s and into 70s, but you just happened to pick the number 4. Awesome.
All right.
Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by who?
Otis Redding.
Thank you. Wanted to make sure you knew who the artist was, because the clue number 3 was the song features whistling and the sound of waves crashing on the shore.
Right, the waves would have done it.
Would have
forgotten. Yeah,
I know.
All right.
You're sitting at 18 points.
We got 1972 left of the even years, so let's go for it.
Let's see what kind of overall score David can get. 1972.
I did really badly with when I gotcha was the I gotcha 0 on that one. So,
that one gotcha.
Yeah, it really did. So hopefully this one won't. But
all right, let me see if you can get how quickly you can get this one. All right. Paul McCartney once described this ballad as the killer song of all time.
Wow. John Borak would probably know this. This is 1972.
72.
Well, I don't think he was talking about one of his own, especially since that year he didn't exactly burn up the charts.
There's no pressure. You've already blown away.
No, I know, but obviously, let me see. Let me just think about.
You do have a certain sense of pride of the score. You don't want to get gotcha'd again.
True. Trying to think of some ballads here that were. Why am I blanking on the biggest hits of? Oh. Okay. I'll just take a stab at it. Without You by Nilsson.
Oh my gosh.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Oh, another.
No, yes, it is. I'm sure Paul thought Yes, It Is was a really good ballad also, but
I'm sure he did.
It's not from 1972.
Well, my friends, out of a possible.
Damn, I didn't sweep it.
No, out of a possible 25 points, though, you did get 23, which I think is your highest total overall. In Stump the Bash.
I got 23 last week too.
Well, I'm just saying, I think 23 is your highest. Is your highest
tied
total.
To my highest? Yeah.
Yeah. That's wonderful. But if you want, we could do a bonus question here.
Why not?
Just for fun, and this is where we get away from music for 1 second, and we go into our baseball trivia and see if we can get a little stump. We're going to spin the wheel of baseball teams and see what team we're going to talk about.
Nolan Ryan. Oh no.
Nolan Ryan.
Oh God.
You know, it was almost the Texas Rangers, which is pretty funny.
The Rays are one of the teams I know the least about, so
I know
they have no history. So let's see what happens here.
All right, here we go. The very first question that pops up related to the Tampa Bay Rays. Which Rays pitcher won the 2008 All-Star game? Was it Matt Garza, James Shields, Scott Kazmir, or David Price? The 2008 All-Star Game winning pitcher. Garza, Shields, Kazmir, or Price?
God, I know almost as little about All-Star games too. I don't really care about them. But he did have the nickname Big Game James. So I'll just go with James Shields.
I wish you would have gotten the bonus, but it was Scott Kazmir. He pitched the 14th inning and got the win for the American League.
He pitched for the Led Zeppelins.
The Led Zeppelins. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Episode number 71 of Material Issues and Stump the Bash. We were not successful in stumping the bash tonight, but there will be more episodes coming in the future. I really need
one that maybe let's decide next time that the numbers it'll be a random number. Here's what you do. You have four. Thank you. We have four choices, A, B, C, and D, and in them will be something between 80, 81, and 100.
We can do that.
Let's do that. Because number 4, I mean, not that anyone in the world could get them, but
that was pretty easy.
I've got a good frame of reference. Well, I don't know how easy it was, but
I mean, as far as if I'm looking at,
but it's not that. It's not
the other three chart positions that I had ready to go were number 50, number 64, and number 77.
Yeah,
so those you could
just random between 81 and 100 just for next week, and
yes,
then
indeed.
after that you just go to the normal random thing.
That was awesome though, man. You killed it. 23 out of 25. Stump the Bash. That's pretty darn impressive, man.
Thank you.
People are definitely impressed with that knowledge. I couldn't believe you got
jumping up to the rafters right now.
Well, it's been another great week here on Material Issues. We do have some, as we say, we always have irons in the fire. We got things we're working on.
Yeah, there could be a really fun one if this person is able to be on. It's a music related guest, and if they're able to be on, this will be very enlightening because this person was part of a scene that a lot of people don't really know anything about, but was very, very cool.
Wow.
So if they end up doing it, we'll
let you know.
Expound upon that, but I mean, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
That's why we tell people that if you're on Facebook, make sure you join our group at Material Issues on Facebook and materialissues.com on YouTube. And as we just talked earlier tonight, if you didn't see it, all these episodes will eventually be up materialissues.podbean.com as a podcast. Right now, the first 11 episodes are there. I'm working on getting them all loaded up there so you can, subscribe to that podcast and listen to us on the go. And as somebody mentioned earlier, you don't have to look at our faces if you don't want to. You could just listen to us.
Sage advice. Anyway, before we go, I wanted to talk about something you posted a few days ago, which I thought was it's just a very refreshing thing, in a world where taking care of number one is usually at a premium for people. The time when you were walking Chaz and you were really hungry, and I forgot, was it that you didn't have any food in the house, or you couldn't get to the house?
Well, I had fed Chaz a nice dinner, and he wanted to go out. I was hungry. My blood sugars were a little low, but he wanted to go out. So I took him on, and the walk ended up extremely long because he started playing with all these doggy friends that he has. And, and every time I said, Chaz, I got to get home because I was really needing something to eat. And all I could think about was I had nothing. I would have to figure out what to eat. I didn't want to have just like some salad or something. I had nothing. And then as I'm walking, and a lady from a block away came walking towards me, and she said, "Hi, I just dropped off a little package at your front steps, and it's some new treats for Chez because they don't even have a dog and they buy treats to give to Chez." And she goes, "And I also put a little package there for you. I made pork chops, green beans, mashed potatoes tonight. I thought you would like that as well." And I stood there, almost speechless, to the point where you don't understand how much that means to me right now at this moment in time. Not that I can't afford food or anything, but it was just that a moment where all I could think about was I'm so hungry, and this happened. And then when I got home and I heated it up, it was so good. It was like the best of my mom's comfort food you could imagine. It was just so delicious. I savored every bite. I texted her immediately. I said, you don't understand how much this just means as a nice gesture. And
that really is that was great. Not only was it a nice gesture, but a needed one. And she had no real idea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Was it pork chops and applesauce?
Applesauce.
Yeah.
It was so good. And
let's get Chris Knight on this program. Actually.
Let's get Chris Knight on. Yeah, there you go. Or who was the woman he married that ended up on that reality show or whatever? I forget.
Oh, really? I don't know.
I forget, but that'd be cool. We'll get Chris. But
anyway,
it was a nice gesture, and
it really was.
It meant a lot at the time, and it still does. It's just all about paying it forward and doing nice things for others, and just beautiful.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we had a beautiful show today, and
Right.
right now we don't have any guests to announce, but we will. You can be sure of that. And in the meantime, if we don't, it'll just be us. We'll talk about other good stuff. We'll have fun. We'll have potato chips.
Hey, I saw a new ketchup flavor. I forgot what it was. I saw it in the store the other day. Never
Really?
saw it
Another
before. Yeah,
brand?
another brand. Oh, darn it. I wanted to
What?
write that down.
What's the deal with California? What is the deal with these companies thinking that Californians don't like ketchup chips?
I don't know, but I couldn't believe
we've
it.
never had any out here.
It was like, oh, you know what? It was like Tostitos ketchup flavored something or other.
Oh, so they were taco chips like.
I don't think so though. They were
Oh.
potato based. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back to the store now and concentrate on it because I was in a hurry and I couldn't. I said, "Oh, look at that ketchup." And,
I just hope that when I come back for IPO in November, that some of the New York shops have the ketchup chips. But if not, I'm heading down to Haddonfield.
South Jersey, where ketchup chips reign supreme.
They really do.
It's awesome, man.
Anyway, have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, you too,
Mark.
buddy.
It was fun, and thank you all for watching.
And we'll
be
see
back
everybody next week.
Next Wednesday at 3:00 Pacific, etc., unless otherwise instructed. So,
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks,
Thank you,
Gary.
Gary.
We appreciate it. Have a great night. Stay happy, healthy, and safe down in Florida.
absolutely. Thank you all, everyone. Be good.